Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Dr. Mercado speaking. This is Accounting 1304, Introduction to Accounting 2, and we are continuing covering the content on Chapter 12, which deals with special journals. Now, the problem that I'm going to be going over right now is problem 12-12A, and it is a very long problem, so I'm warning you, okay? This is going to be kind of like a long lecture. But I did want to cover this problem because, let me look at my notes. Yes, this problem is going to be on your test, okay? So make sure that we understand what we're doing. So I'm taking the time to cover it in detail with you. That way you're prepared. You get to practice when you do your homework. And then you'll be seeing it again on your exam. So it's a very important problem, okay? So the problem is 12-12A. Let me jump over to the problem. And as you can see, it's very lengthy, okay? This problem covers purchases journal, cash payments journal, and the general journal. And then we have to post to the subsidiary, to the general ledgers, as well as we're going to post to the general ledgers, and we're going to post also to the accounts payable ledgers. So it's going to be a lot of transferring of information and posting information to the different journals. Okay, so students can get overwhelmed. So we're provided with a series of transactions that happen during the month of July. Okay, and we're going to go over each of these transactions one by one. But you're provided with a whole bunch of transactions. The requirements are to record the transactions in the purchases journal, the cash payments journal, and the general journal. We have to total and rule the purchases and cash payments journals, and we have to prove the cash payments journal. And then once we're done posting to our different journals, we have to post from the journals to the general ledger and the accounts payable ledger accounts. We have to use the general ledger accounts numbers as shown in the chapter. Okay? So this is what I've done. I've set up the different journals. We've got the purchases journal first, okay? Then we've got our cash payments journal next, okay? And this is coming from the problem. All I did was set it up in Excel. Then we have our general journal. And then we're going to have our general ledgers, okay? And then we have our accounts payable ledger, okay? So we have quite a bit of information to record here, okay? So let's get started with the first transaction. Let's see what happened. Okay, so it says on July the 1st, we issued check number 414 in payment of the July rent, $1,500. So here's where you have to talk to yourself and say, well, what's going on here? Okay, we've got three different journals: purchases journal, cash payment journal, and the general journal. On your purchases journal, you're going to record all of your purchase transactions. When you make a purchase, you record it on the purchase journal. Cash payments is when, exactly what it says. When you make a payment with cash, you use the cash payments journal. It keeps track of all of your cash payments. And then if it doesn't apply to either or, then you use your general journal. Okay? So in this case, we are making a payment for our rent, $1,500. Okay? With check number 414. Okay? So, if we are making a payment, which journal are we going to use? We're going to use the cash payments journal. Okay, so we're going to go to the cash payments journal. Okay, we're going to enter the date of the transaction. This is happening July the 1st. Okay, and we are paying with check number 414, and this is for our rent. This is for rent expense. Okay, and the amount of the rent is $1,500. Now, we have several debit accounts. We have one for purchases and one for accounts payable. If it does not apply for either or, we're going to use the general debit. So my rent expense is going to be debited, and that is for $1,500. Okay? And then we're going to take that over. Okay? So what's happening to our cash when we pay our rent? When we pay our rent, we credit cash. Every time we utilize cash for any purpose, the cash account is credited. So in this case, we're going to keep track of that. My cash is going to be credited for $1,500. Okay? Okay. So next transaction. Okay? We purchased merchandise on account from Tank's Toys. Invoice number 311. $2,700. Terms 210, net 30. So what does that mean? That means that if you pay within 10 days, you'll get a 2% discount. If not, everything is due at the end of the month, within 30 days, okay? So, we purchased on account. So, what are we doing here? We are purchasing stuff. And if we are purchasing stuff, we have a purchases journal, okay? So, when did this transaction happen? This happened on July the 1st, okay? My invoice number is 311 that is given to us in the problem, okay? From whom are we purchasing this from? We're purchasing it from Tang's Toys, okay? And how much is the amount of my purchase? $2,700, okay? That happened on the 1st. On the 3rd, we purchased more merchandise on account from CS and Company. Invoice number 812 for $3,100. Terms 110, net 30. So that means if we pay within 10 days, we'll get a 1% discount, okay? So this is happening on the 3rd because it is a purchase. We're purchasing merchandise. It's going to go under your purchases journal, okay? So this is happening on the 3rd, and this is invoice number 812, and we purchased this from CS and Company. And the amount is $3,100, okay? So that happened on the 3rd. On the 5th, we returned merchandise purchased from Tang's Toys, receiving a credit memo on the amount owed, $500. So this is a return, okay? Now, we do not have a special journal for returns here. We only have 3 journals that we're using: the purchases journal, the cash payment journal, and the general journal. So if it doesn't fall within the purchases journal or the cash payments journal, then we're going to utilize the general journal. So in this case, because we have returned merchandise, we're going to post that in our general journal, okay? So it says here that we are returning $500 of merchandise from Tang's Toys, okay? So I'm going to go to my general journal, okay? And this is happening on July the 5th, okay? And I am going, they had purchased the merchandise on account, and we're going to give them credit. So now I have here, I'm going to debit my accounts payable for Tang's Toys, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to credit my purchases, returns, and allowance. Okay. And the amount for the return was $500, okay? So my accounts payable is going to get debited $500. My purchases, returns, and allowances is going to get credited $500. And I'm going to put a small description here. It's for returned merchandise. So that happened on July the 5th, and I'm putting it in my general journal because this transaction, which is a return, does not apply to the other 2 journals that we're using. Okay, so now what's happening on July the 8th? It says we purchased more merchandise on account, but not from Daisy's Dolls. Invoice number 139, okay? For $1,900, terms 210, net 30. So this is happening on July the 8th, okay? This is invoice number 139, and this is from Daisy's Dolls, okay? And the amount of my purchase is $1,900. There we go, okay? On the 11th, okay, we issued check number 415 to Tang's Toys for merchandise purchase on account, less the return on July the 5th, and less the 2% discount. So now we are paying the money that we owe to Tang's Toys. But we have to remember that we purchased $2,700 from Tang's Toys. Then we returned, this is happening on July the 1st. Then on July the 5th, we returned $500 of merchandise. So we have to take that into account. Okay. Now here we are, it says here we are issuing a check. So we are issuing a check. Therefore, we are going to be using the cash payment journal. Okay. So let's look at our cash payment journal. And this is happening on the 11th, correct? Let me see. Yes, the 11th. Okay. So on the 11th, okay, it was check number 415. And we are paying our check to Tang's Toys. Okay. Now, here, we're paying what we owed them. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to debit our accounts payable for $2,200. Okay. Now we have to figure out the amount of the discount. How did I get $2,200? Well, let me go back. Maybe I'm going too fast here. How did I get $2,200? Well, I know that on the first I had purchased $2,700, and then on the 5th I returned $500. So I owe $2,200. This is what I included over here on my journal over here. Okay, $2,200. Now, we also had that if we pay within 10 days, which we did, we're going to get a 2% discount. Okay, so I'm going to get my calculator. I'm going to get my 2,200 times my 2% discount, and that's going to give us a $44 discount. So I've got $44 discount. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to credit my purchases discounts for $44. Okay, so how much cash am I going to receive? Well, I owe $2,200, but then I got a purchase discount of $44. So that means I'm going to pay cash of $2,156. Okay. So that happened on the 11th. On the 13th, we issued check number 416 to CS and Company for merchandise purchase on account less than 1% discount. Now, in this case, we didn't have any returns. It was just a purchase, so it makes it simpler. Okay, so on the 13th, okay, let's go ahead and move this over. So on the 13th, we've got check number 416, okay, and it's payable to CS and Company. Okay, and the amount of the payment, let's see what happened on the 13th, was for the transaction of the purchase of merchandise. If we go back to July the 3rd, we purchased $3,100 of merchandise. So that is what we are paying back, the $3,100. Okay. That is going to be going under my accounts payable debit because we are reducing the amount of accounts payable owed. Okay, that's $3,100. Now they mentioned something about this is happening on the 13th. They mentioned something about a discount, a 1% discount. If we look back at the $3,100 transaction on the 3rd, it says that the terms are 1, 10, and 30. So it means if you pay within 10 days, you'll get a 1% discount. So let's go ahead and let's calculate our discount. It'll be the $3,100 times 1%. That will give me $31. Those $31 are going to go under purchases, discounts, credit. Okay. Oh, wrong cell over here. Okay. And now we can figure out how much cash we actually credited. How much did we reduce our cash for? Well, I know that I had $3,100 in my payable. Then I got a discount of $31. That means that I received, or I'm making a payment of $3,069. These are the payments that I am making. This is money leaving the company because we are paying our bills. Okay? So that happened on the 13th. Okay? On the 15th, you return merchandise purchased from Daisy's Dolls, receiving a credit memo on the amount owed of $400. So we have another return. Because returns don't apply to the purchases journal or the cash payments journal, we're going to process those returns under the general journal. Okay? Okay. So, this is happening on the 15th. So once again, I'm going to have my accounts payable. But this time is for Daisy's Dolls. Okay? And then I am going to go ahead and I'm going to credit my purchases, returns, and allowances. Okay. And the amount for the 15th, let me see how much it said. Return merchandise from purchase from Daisy's Dolls, receiving a credit memo on the amount owed of $400. Okay. So we are returning $400 worth of merchandise from our original purchase. Okay, so we are returning $400. So my transaction would be for $400. Okay, so that happened on the 15th. Okay, on the 18th, we issued check number 417 to Daisy's Dolls for merchandise purchase on account, less the return on July the 15th, and less a 2% discount. That is happening on the 18th. Okay, so we are making a payment. If we're making a payment, we're going to use our cash payments journal. Okay, and that is happening on the 18th. Okay, let me see. Check number. What happened? Check number 417. Okay, 417, and this is for Daisy's Dolls. Okay, and the amount for the transaction is $1,500. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to enter my transaction under my accounts payable debit because my accounts payable is getting reduced. I no longer owe that money. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to credit my cash because that is how I'm making my payment. Cash. So it will be, well, wait, we were getting one thing. What did it say happened on the 18th? Let's see. All of these pop-ups, I hate it. Okay. So it says that we issued a check and then we had a 2% discount. Okay. So on the 18th, we have a discount and that's going to be $1,500 times 2%. That will give me a $30 purchases discount, okay, of $30. Okay. And then we can figure out the cash credit. Okay. How much cash are we going to receive? Well, we owed $1,500 minus the $30 purchases discount credit received. Now we can go ahead and we're going to figure the cash credit. With $1,500 minus $30, that would give you $1,470. Okay, that happened on the 18th. On the 25th, you purchased merchandise on account from Allied Business, invoice number 489, 2,450, terms net 30. So this one is not getting any discount options. Okay, so we purchased merchandise. Okay, if we purchase, we're going to enter it in our purchases journal. Okay. And this is happening on the 25th. And we've got invoice 489 for Allied Business. And the amount is $24.50. There we go. Okay. So that happened on the 25th. On the 26th, you purchased merchandise on account from Tank's Toys, invoice number 375 for $1,980, terms 210, net 30. So we purchased more merchandise on account, but this one does offer a discount of 2% if paid within 10 days. Okay, so on the 26th, okay, we've got invoice number 375, and the name of the business is Tank's Toys. Okay. And the amount is $1,980. Okay, $1,980. Okay. On the 29th. Did I do the 26th? Yes. On the 29th, we purchased merchandise on account from CS & Company, invoice number 883 for $3,460, terms 110, net 30. So once again, we're purchasing more merchandise. That goes under your purchases journal. Okay. So that's happening on the 29th. This is invoice number 883. And then it says from whom we purchased. This is happening for CS & Company. Okay. And the amount for my purchases journal is $3,460. Okay, so that happened on the 29th. We're almost there, guys. Okay, on the 31st, Freddie Flynn withdrew cash for personal use. 2000, issued check number 418. Okay. So here we have a withdrawal for personal use, and the business used the check to pay that person. Okay. So the 31st, Freddie Flint withdrew cash for personal use. Okay. This is withdrawing money for personal use part of the purchases journal? No. Purchases journal only keeps track of your purchases transactions. Okay. Then we have the cash payments journal. This is where we pay with the different expenses with cash. And then, of course, we got our general journal, which is the most basic concept to help and illustrate the process to complete this problem. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Where were we? That happened on the 29, 18. Okay, so it's probably that. Okay, so Freddie Flynn withdrew cash for personal use, 2000. So we are making a payment of $2,000. Okay. So let's go ahead and enter this. This is happening on the 31st. And let's see, what is my check number? This is 418. Okay. Okay. So we've got 418, and then the payment is to the customer made a personal withdrawal. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna put F Flint drawing. So the customer withdrew $2,000. It's going under general because it doesn't apply to our accounts payable or purchases discounts. Okay, so if it doesn't apply to any of those three, we use the general debit account. So Flint withdrew $2,000. What's going to happen to Flint's money in the bank? Is it going to go? Is it going to increase or decrease? Because a withdrawal is being made, your money is going to decrease. Okay, so here we have a general debit for $2,000, and then what's going to happen to your cash is going to get credited $2,000. Okay, you're taking money out of the bank to give it to the owner for withdrawal purposes. Okay, and then we have, last but not least, we've got issued check number 419 to Glisson Distributors for a cash purchase of merchandise, $975. Okay, so we issued another check, 419, to Glisson Distributors for cash purchase of merchandise. Okay, so we issued another check, 419. Okay, this is happening on the 31st, and this is check number 419. Okay, and what did it say? Let me go ahead and back. Issued check number 419 to Glisson Distributors for a cash purchase of merchandise, $975. Okay, so we've got a cash purchase. So this account is cash, so I don't have to debit my my different accounts that we have here. So we're gonna leave it blank. I do know that I did purchase $975, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that on my purchases debit. And then because we paid, it says here, we issued check number 419 for a cash purchase of merchandise. Okay, so cash purchase, we are paying cash, so it's going to be a cash payments journal. So we've got the $975, and then we're going to put that under the cash credit of $975. Okay, we are making a payment of $975. Your cash is decreasing. Okay. So those are all of the transactions that we have to analyze. They have all been answered, they have all been analyzed, and they've been entered in the purchases journal, in the cash payments journal, in the general journal, and then we'll continue with our ledgers. Okay? Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is we've entered all of our transactions up to the 31st. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go back into our purchases journal and we're going to get a total. Okay, so I'm going to add all of my purchases, debits, and accounts payable credits. I'm going to add everything in this column, which gives me $15,590. Now that number affects two accounts. It affects your purchases account, and my purchases account has a normal balance of purchases. It's account number 501. Okay, purchases 501. Okay, so that account goes in account number, that balance goes in account number 501 and 202. Okay, so you'll find that this particular purchases journal affects two different accounts, which is the 501, which stands for, let me see, I've got the list here. 501 stands for purchases, and then 202, it stands for your accounts payable. Okay, so these are all different purchases that were made during the period. Okay, and when we get ready to post them, we're going to be posting them to account 501 and 202. Okay, so that is the end of my purchases journal. Let me just make some notes. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to have to go to our cash payments journal, and we're going to go ahead and all of the transactions have been entered. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to tally it up, get my totals. Okay, so I'm going to get my totals, and I'm going to put here totals. I'm going to add all of my totals by column. Okay, so I'm going to have my general debit, and I'm going to do the same thing to the rest. And that gives me totals for my general debit of $3,500, for my accounts payable debit $6,800, for my purchases debit $975, and for my purchases discounts credit $105, for a total of $11,170. Okay, so those are my totals right here. Okay, now we need to figure out where are we going to be posting these transactions. Okay, well, the general debit, that is going to be posting to specific accounts. Okay, here we have the accounts payable debit. The accounts payable debit has account number, let's see, accounts payable, account number 202. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this information in 202, that general ledger. Let me just format it. 202. Let me see, general text. Okay, so I'm going to post this in account 202. So how about my purchases debit? Where does that go? Well, let's go ahead and let's go look. And purchases goes under account number 501. Okay, right here we have the account number. It's 501. Sorry about that. So let me see, what am I doing? Purchases. Okay, so 501, I'm going to go back to my cash payments journal, and my purchases debit is 501. Your purchases discount credit, let's go see what account number that is. Purchases discount credits, purchases discount credits. Okay, purchases return, purchases discounts, it's 501.2. Okay, so I'm looking for my account number so I can post it, 501.2. Okay, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back, and then that's going to go under 501.2. Okay, Let me see. So this is the account number where it's going to be posted on your ledger. Okay. And then we've got a total of cash credit of $11,170. Cash is account number 101. Okay. Okay, so 101 is my account number. Okay. So I basically identified my general ledger account number for my accounts payable debit, my purchases debit, my purchases discount credit, and my cash credit. Okay. Now, just to be on the safe side, let me go ahead and let me delete this. Okay. Okay, we're going to get our total debits. Now, my debits are these three numbers right here. Okay. So I've got three debits. That is going to be 3,500, 6,800, and 975. Okay. And then if we add them together, we get 11,275 debit total. Now we're going to look at the credits. And we've got two credits. Okay. And that's going to be 105 and 11170. Okay. 11,170. So we're going to add those together. 11,275. So what we did is we tallied each of our totals. That way we can know the total for each of the categories. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Let me save my work. I don't want to lose it. So all we did is we identified what information went into each of the journals, and then here we're tallying it up. Okay. Okay. So there we go. What else do we have? So I'm just basically labeling where we're going to be posting all of these transactions. Okay. And then these on your general journal, they just get transferred over to the general ledger. Okay. Very good. Okay. So that is basically it for my general journals. Now that we are done with that, we can start posting from our respective journals into the general ledger. Okay. So we're going to go by date. Okay. Should we go by date or should we go by account? Which is the easiest option? I think if we go by account, it'll be easier. Let me switch up my mind here. Let's do by account. So we've got several accounts. Only one account had a beginning balance. The problem said the cash had a beginning balance of $20,000. So the cash account has a balance of $20,000 on July the 1st. Okay. So now we need to identify and locate all of the transactions that affect cash. Okay. Cash. So do we have anything in my general journal that affects cash? No. None of those transactions affect cash. Now let's look at our cash payments journal. Do we have anything that affected cash? Yes, we did. Right here. Cash got credited for several transactions. Okay. So we have cash that was used up during the month of 11,170. Okay. So I'm going to move the total of the 11,170 over to my cash general ledger. Okay. So cash general ledger, this is happening on July the 31st. Okay. This is coming from cash payment journal, page number 9. Okay. CP9, where am I getting that? Cash payment, page number 1. Okay, that's coming from your journal information. Okay. Okay, so I've got CP9, okay, and the amount of the credit is 11,170. Okay. Now my balance is 20,000 minus 11,170. That will give me 8,830. That would be the ending balance for my cash account. Okay. So I started off with $20,000 in the bank, and then I'm left with $8,830 in the bank. Okay. So I've already posted, and I like to color coordinate or just highlight, because I want to make sure that we've used up the numbers. Okay. So that number has been used, which is your purchases journal has been entered into 501 and 202. Okay, 15,590. Okay, so that takes care of that transaction. So I transferred my total from my cash payment journal, and I posted it, only the total, 11,170. I posted that on my general ledger over here. Okay, so on our general ledgers, we have a transaction for 11,170. Okay, and that decreased our cash balance from 20,000 to 8,830. Okay, so that takes care of cash. I've already used it up. Now, what about my accounts payable? Okay, what about my accounts payable? So let's look at our accounts payable. We're going to locate the transactions that affected my accounts payable. And here we have two transactions, one on the 5th and one on the 15th. Okay, so I'm going to copy that information over, and this deals with your accounts payable. Okay, so we've got our ledgers over here. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is July the 5th. Okay, July the 5th. Okay, and on July the 5th, I got this from J3. Okay, so where are we getting that? Journal page number 3. Okay, so I've got my accounts payable, page number 3. So we're going to enter in our general journal. Okay, so we have two transactions dealing with accounts payable. The first one is July the 5th. This is coming from J3. Okay, and the amount is 500 debit. Okay, so I'm going to carry that over. Okay. Okay, and then the next one we have is on July the 15th. Okay, we've got another debit of $400. This is happening on Journal 3, and my debit is for $400. So now I get to add my debit, my first debit, and my second debit, and that will give me my ending balance of $900 as of that point in time. Okay, so that's the second transaction that got posted to my accounts payable. Okay, now let's go look at the other journals. Does any of them deal with accounts payable? Yes, we do. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over here, and this is a purchases journal. Now, the purchases journal, all of these purchases were done on account. Okay, because they were done on account, these transactions affect your accounts payable. Okay, so we've already got the total, which is the 15,590. That is going to be transferred over to both your purchases account with the debit, or your accounts payable with the credit. Okay, so this 15,590 is going to hit two accounts, purchases and accounts payable. Okay, so let's go ahead and move this, and we're moving it as of the end of the month. Okay, this is happening on, where is my journal? Okay, accounts payable. Okay, so this is happening as of the 31st. This is coming from P7. Okay, purchases journal, page 7. Okay, let me see. Okay, page 7, and it's for 15,000. Oh, where's my cursor? 15,590 credit. Okay. So, accounts payable is a liability. The normal balance of a liability should be a credit. Okay. So here we had a debit transaction, another debit transaction. These are for the returns. Now I can go ahead and record that transaction for $15,590. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the $15,590 credit minus the 900 minus the 500. That gives me, let me see. Did I do it right? Debit. Oh no, that's my ending balance. Okay, so I've got my running balance. So then that's gonna be my $15,590 minus $900. That's gonna give me a balance of $14,690. Okay, you get your prior balance plus or minus your current balance, and that gives you $14,690 credit. Okay, it's very important that you know it's a credit. How do you know that? Well, it says here that accounts payable is going to get credited. Okay. And then last but not least, we've got our cash payment journal. And do we have any transactions for accounts payable? Yes, we do. We have multiple transactions that equate to $6,800. Okay. So where am I going to post those $6,800? I'm going to post it in General Ledger 202. Okay. So I'm going to go back. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and post that, okay, into my ledger. Okay, and we're doing accounts payable, and this is happening as of the 31st. This is coming from cash payment journal number 9. Okay, so what happened with our cash payment journal? Okay, so we're looking at accounts payable. Accounts payable is 202. So I've got $6,800 debit that I need to record here, okay, on my general ledger. So it's $6,800 total. Okay. So I've got $6,800 debit. Okay. I can get my calculator. 14,690 minus 6,800. That gives me a balance of 7,890. And that is a credit balance, as it should be, because accounts payable is a liability account, and the normal balance of a liability is a credit. Okay, so there we're done with the second general ledger, which is accounts payable. Remember, these transactions have to be in sequential order, so you can get them correct. Make sure that you enter your post reference. Okay, now we've posted all of these transactions. As you post your transactions, you have to come back and figure out, okay, have I posted this? Yes, I have. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert a check mark. That way it tells me, you know what, I've already posted them and I verified them and everything's correct. Okay. So this tells me that this transactions totaling to $15,590 have been entered in account 501 and 202. Okay. We're going to do the same thing for my cash payment journal. Okay. Once we are done entering into our journals, we can transfer to our ledgers. Make sure that you don't forget your post reference column. Okay. Okay. So we are done with accounts payable. We transferred everything to the accounts payable account with a balance of $7,890. Okay, that's my ending balance right there. Okay. Then we had a withdrawal, okay, by the owner. Okay. So that withdrawal, we need to go back and we need to go see. Okay. Let me see. These, I'm going to put these over here. That's why we have our post reference. Home, insert, simple. Okay, this one. Okay. So by us putting a check mark here, we've known that we've entered the total of the purchases journal into my ledgers. Okay. So all of these have been entered into account 501 and 202. Okay. That's where we need to post those, to those two accounts. Okay. Okay, so we've got those down. Now let's look at the next general ledger that we have. We have another ledger called drawing. Okay, so did any transactions affect the drawing account? And I believe we had one transaction that was a withdrawal. And if we go back, we would locate that withdrawal right here. Okay, we had a withdrawal of $2,000. Okay, so now we have to record that into the general journal. This is cash receipts journal page number 9. Okay, so let's go to the drawing account. This happened on July the 31st. Okay, and this is cash payment journal number 9. Okay, and the amount of my transaction was for $2,000. Okay, so where am I getting this? We're going to go back and we're going to locate on our cash payment journal. Well, what happened? Well, there was a withdrawal for $2,000. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to debit $2,000 and then I'm going to run my total over to the balance side. Okay, $2,000 debit for the withdrawal account. Okay, now we're going to look at purchases. Okay, the purchases account. Okay, that's the next account that we have. Okay, so if we go back to purchases, we've got our purchase journal, $15,590. That needs to be recorded under the purchases journal. Okay, so that is, where's my thing over here? Let me close this. Okay, right there. Okay, so purchases, let's go back to our general ledgers. Purchases is account number 501. Okay, so we're going to enter the transaction from the total, $15,590. Okay, let me go in there and look for the ledger for purchases. Here we go. Okay, this is happening July the 31st. Okay, so on July the 31st, we had, this is coming from Purchases Journal 7, $15,590. Okay, so this is purchases. This is Purchases Journal number 7. And we had a debit of $15,590. Okay, so that is our 501 and our 202. If we go over to our cash payment journal, we also had a purchases debit right here of $975. Okay, so this is happening on our cash payment journal number 9. So we're going to go back to purchases, my general ledger in purchases. Okay, this happened also on the 31st. And this is cash payment journal number 9. And the amount of the debit is $975. Because they're both debits, we're going to add them together. Okay, that gives me $16,565. Okay, purchases, returns, and allowances. Okay, do we have any purchases, returns, and allowance? Yes, we do. We have two. Where's my general journal? Right here. Okay, purchases, returns, and allowance. We have two transactions. Okay, here's the first one. And here is the second one. Okay, so those are going to be entered into my purchases, returns, and allowance account. Okay, so let's look for purchases, returns, and allowance. Okay, and this happened on July the 5th. This is coming from general journal page number 3. Okay. And the amount of the return was for $500 for the first one. Okay. And then on the 15th, we had again journal 3. Okay. And the amount is for $400. That is the amount of my return. Okay. So I'm going to have a 500 credit plus the 400 credit. That's going to give me a 900 credit. Okay? So it's just very time consuming. It's being able to locate the information from the different journals to be able to transfer to their ledgers. Okay? Okay, so that is for purchases, returns, and allowances, 900 credit. Okay? Purchase discounts. Do we have any discounts? Let's go and look. Discounts. Yes, we did. We had discounts of 105. Okay. We have discounts total of 105. Okay. So we're going to go to our purchases discounts. Okay. Purchases discounts is happening on July 31st. And we had from our cash payment journal, number 9, we had a credit of 105. Okay. So that happened on our purchase discounts. Then we have rent expense. Okay. Did we pay the rent? Okay. So let's look at the problem. These are all of our transactions. Okay, so let's look, what did we do, or how do we handle the rent? Well, here we have rent expense, $1,500. So we had one transaction posted to rent expense for $1,500. That happened on July the 1st, and it's coming from your cash payment journal. Okay, so let's look over to our rent expense, and this is happening as of July the 1st. This is coming from cash payment journal number, page number 9, and I've got a debit of 1,500. Okay, so rent expense, sorry about that. Rent expense, we had one item for rent expense. Okay, rent expense right here, $1,500. Okay, so I've posted, those are all of my where is my thing over here? Okay, so what I've done here is I've posted everything to my general ledgers. I've identified the post reference. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to fill in the blanks for my journals that I use, that I need to put the post reference. The post reference is a step a lot of students miss. You can wait till the end, or you can post them as you go. That is the proper way to do it, to post them as you go. I prefer to post them at the very end. Just don't forget that you need to post your post reference information. Okay? So let's go ahead and let's enter that information for from our general general ledger into our general journal. Okay? So I've already posted this transaction into account number 202. Okay? And I'm also going to post it, and I'll post that later in a bit. Okay? So I've got 202. My purchases, returns, and allowances are 501.1. Okay? Accounts payable, it's 202. And then we'll figure that later on. And then for my purchases, returns, and allowances, okay? Purchases, returns, and allowances, we have account number 501.1. Okay? Okay, so that is, we've transferred the information from our journal to our ledger. We've posted into our ledger. We have to go back and post into our general journal the post reference columns. That lets us know that we've reviewed the information and we've posted it to our ledgers. Okay? So, all of my purchase discounts are, or all of my general ledgers are done. Okay? Let me just highlight these. That way we know the ending balances. Okay? So let me save this. Okay, so let's go back to our purchases journal. We entered the post reference here, check marks. That just lets them know that the transaction has been posted from the journal to the ledger. Okay. Then we have the cash payments journal. This is whenever cash is leaving the organization. We're using money to pay for certain things, okay? Now here we have the different accounts that are being affected, that we've identified it. For the 3,500 general debit, that is going into the rent expense and then the drawing account for the 2,000. So that has been posted. And I'm just going to put a check mark. That way it lets me know that I've posted those transactions with the specialist. Okay. Okay, so my general debit, I'm going to just go ahead and put the check mark. Okay, these have been posted, and when I'm referring to these, I'm referring to my totals. My totals have been posted to the respective accounts. So for accounts payable, it's account number 202. For purchases debit, it's 501. For purchases discounts credit, it's 501.2. Okay, so these were posted, these balances were posted into those respective accounts. Okay. And then we've already worked on our general journal. We just copied the post reference. This is your general ledger account numbers, and that lets us know that we've posted the transactions into the general ledger. Okay. So we've done quite a bit. We've done the 3 different journals. We've done the ledgers. Okay. Now we need to worry about doing. Let me just verify that my ledgers are correct. 8830, that is correct. 7890, that is correct. That's a credit. Drawing 2,000 debit, that is correct. Purchases 16,565 debit, that is correct. Purchases, returns, and allowances 900 credit, that is correct. Purchases discounts, it's 105 credit, that is correct. And then rent expense, it's 1,500 debit, that is correct. Okay, so it's just very important that we go back and review and make sure that we're posting them to the correct column, because if not, our balances are going to be off. Okay, so once we are done with posting into the respective general ledgers, we can now work on the accounts payable ledger. Okay, so in the accounts payable ledger, we have a list of all of our people we buy from. Okay, the first one we have is Allied Business. Usually we have the name of the business and the address. The address was not provided, so I'm not going to stress about it. We just leave it blank, okay? But in your homework, the address will be pre-populated, so you don't have to worry about that. But just know that you do have to enter the name of the business and the address, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to look for all of the transactions for Allied Business, okay? Allied Business. So let's go and let's look for Allied Business, and we have one transaction for Allied Business right there, 2,450, and it's going to be affecting let's see. Let's go ahead and bring it over here for my accounts payable. That happened on July the 25th. Okay. And this is coming from Purchases Journal, page number 7. Okay, P7. Okay, and the amount is a credit of 2,450. My balance is a credit of 2,450. Okay, so now we're gonna go and we're gonna look for Daisy's dolls. Okay, Daisy's dolls, we have $1,900 right there. Okay, on the 8th. Okay, so that's Purchases Journal 7. Okay. And this is happening on July the 8th. Daisy's Dolls, July the 8th. And where am I getting this once again, guys? I'm getting this from my Purchases Journals. And I'm looking at Daisy's Dolls, $1,900. And that's Purchases Journal 7. Okay. So this is P7. And it's a credit of $1,900. Okay. Do we have anything else for Daisy's Dolls? Well, here we have Daisy's Dolls. And what happened with Daisy's Dolls? Okay, let's see. Okay. Daisy's Dolls. Okay, that happened on the 18th. But there's something else that happened to Daisy's Dolls. Let me see. Where is it? Oh, over here. Daisy's Dolls on our general journal on the 15th had a return of $400. So I have to go find, or I'm going to go enter these transaction to Daisy's Dolls for $400 on the accounts payable ledger. So that happened on the 15th, okay? And that happened on regular journal 3, general journal. And we had a debit of $400 for the return. So now my balance is going to be the $1,900 minus the $400. That gives me $1,500, okay? That happened on the 15th, okay? Then I can go over here and I can say, okay, Daisy's Dolls, we paid off the balance, okay, of $1,500. $1,500, okay? Daisy's Dolls. Let me just highlight this piece right there. So for Daisy's Dolls, we had a return of $1,500 of merchandise on the 18th. So let's go back to our accounts payable ledger. That's happening on the 18th. This is cash payment journal, page number 9. And we've got a $1,500 debit. So now Daisy's Dolls owes me 0. They used to owe me $1,500. They liquidated that balance. My balance is 0 for Daisy's Dolls. Okay, this is my ending balances. Let me mark them off for each customer. Okay, for each vendor that we have. Okay, next we have C.S. and Company. Okay, C.S. and Company. C.S. and Company, we made a purchase of $3,100 on the 3rd. So let's go take that over to C.S. and Company. That happened on July the 3rd. And then we had, this is post reference, this is P7, purchases journal number 7. And we had a credit of $3,100. That is my balance. Okay. And then what else happened? Okay. Okay, so now let's look at C.S. and Company. Do we have anything else? Well, we had a payment of $3,100. That happened on the 13th. C.S. and Company, we have a payment there of $3,100. Okay, so let's go back and let's post that information. C.S. and Company, that happened on the 13th. And that is cash payment journal number 9. And we paid the $3,100, so that means we owe 0. Okay. And then what else affected my C.S. and Company? Okay. So what else happened to C.S. and Company? So we paid $3,100. And then on the 29th, we bought more merchandise from C.S. and Company. We bought $3,460 more on the 29th. So let's enter that. Where is it? Right here. C.S. and Company. And this is C.S. and Company. And that happened on the 29th. Let me just make sure. C.S. and Company. Yes. On the 29th, we purchased $3,460. Okay. And that happened on Purchases Journal page 7. And we've got a credit of $3,460. So now we owe the $3,460. That is the balance that is owed. We owe C.S. and Company $3,460 for merchandise purchased on account. Okay, $3,460. Okay. Last but not least, we've got Tank's Toys. Okay, so let's go and let's look for Tank's Toys. Okay. So Tank's Toys, we have a purchase on July the 1st for $2,700. Okay, so let's post that. Okay, Tank's Toys, that is happening on July the 1st. This is Purchases Journal number 7, and we have a credit of $2,700. Okay, so that takes care of that first transaction, that purchase right there. Okay, and then on the 26th, we have another one, but we still have more transactions. Whenever we're posting to our ledgers, they have to be in date sequence order, okay? So that happened on the 1st. Now, on the, there's something else. We have here something happened on the 5th, okay? But that, we need to look at for that as well. We've got that one there for Tang's Toys. I'm highlighting them pink. Okay, and we also have a transaction right here. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. Tang returned $500, so we have to record that transaction. That happened on the 5th, okay, and that happened on our regular journal, journal number 3, and we have a debit of $500, okay. So now I've got 2,700 minus 500, my balance is 2,200, okay. Then we can go back and we can locate the other transactions that we had. On the 11th, we paid $2,200 for to Tang's Toys, okay. So let's go and let's enter that $2,200 payment. That happened on the 11th, and that is cash payment journal number 9. And we paid $2,200. So that means that at this point, we owed 0 to Tang, okay? We owed 0 to Tang. And then if we look at our at our purchases journal, Tang's Toys made another purchase on the 26th for $19.80. So we have to enter that over here on the 26th, P7, and for $19.80. So the amount that we owe is $19.80 to Tang's Toys. So these are my ending balances for each of my vendors. Okay, these are who I buy from. I buy from Allied Business. I owe Allied Business $24.50. I buy from Daisy's Dolls. I don't owe anything to Daisy's Dolls at this point. I buy from CS and Company. I owed CS and Company $3,460. And then I have Tang's Toys, and I owe Tang's Toys $19.80. When we post here, we have to go back and we have to identify that these transactions have been posted. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's look here. Where did we post our rent expense? Well, my rent expense was posted to my, right here, rent expense was posted to General Ledger 521. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back and I'm going to enter that information right here. 521. Sorry. There we go. Okay. Now for Tang's Toys, CS and Company, and Daisy's Dolls, those we're going to just notate them with the check mark that those have been entered into the respective ledger accounts. Okay. And then Flint Drawing, these don't have their own account. That's why we're not putting an account number. But the drawing account does have its own account number. Let's go locate it. Drawing, it's 312. So we're going to put that 312 over here. That way we can get credit for it. Remember, a lot of students forget to go back and post the information on the post reference column. It's very important that you post it, because if not, you're going to be docked a lot of points. Okay. So that takes care of that. And we've posted all of that information down here. Okay. So that takes care of that. And then let's look at our general journal. Okay, we posted it to General Ledger 202, but at this point we also posted it to our accounts payable ledger, and that we're going to have to notate that here as well by putting a check mark. So whenever we post to our accounts payable ledger, we're going to have to post the general ledger that we use and then the subsidiary ledger, which is the accounts payable ledger. Okay, and we're going to post that there. So accounts payable will always have the account number for the general ledger, and then a dash, and then a check mark that shows that we've posted it over both in the general ledger and the accounts payable ledger. Okay, so that lets us know that it's been posted on two places, the ledger and the accounts payable ledger. Okay, so that is it for this section right here. That takes care of all of these. And then we have to go back, okay, to our ledger and just make sure that we did enter our post-reference column, which we did. We were notating as we were going. Okay, and the same thing for my accounts payable ledger. Yes. Okay. Now this is a very long problem. It is confusing because we're posting to three different journals: purchases journal, the cash payment journal, and the general journal. So you need to figure out in which journal does the transaction belong in. You have to keep track of the returns, you have to keep track of the payments, and once you're done posting, you have to update your general ledger and your accounts payable ledger. Okay, and then calculating the ending balances for each. Okay, so it is time consuming. Be very careful that you don't forget a number because that will throw you off. Make sure that on your ledgers they're organized by date, from the earliest date to the latest date. They have to be in sequential order. Okay, and that is basically it. Make sure that you practice this problem because you're going to see it again on your test. Okay, so you need to really master this problem. Okay, it's a lot of information, but we're killing a whole bunch of birds with one stone because we're doing the purchases journal, the cash payments journal, the general journal, the general ledger, and the accounts payable ledger. Okay, so it's a lot of information being covered in one problem. Okay, and it's not difficult. It's just a matter of, okay, identifying, okay, it's a purchase, it goes into my purchases journal. I'm paying something with cash, it goes into my cash payments journal. If my transaction does not apply to my purchases journal or my cash payments journal, then it goes into my general journal. Okay, and then once I'm done with all of my three journals, then it's transferring the information over to my ledger, my general ledger. And then once I'm done with that, it's transferring the information to my accounts payable ledger. Okay, I want to wish you all a great week. Stay safe out there. Do your homework. Make sure that if you have any questions, you reach out to me Monday through Friday. I'm available to answer your questions. And that is basically it for this problem 12-12A. Until next time, have a great day.